I'm using period 1, 2 as an example, but period 5, period 3, period 8, 9, it's all the same. When you go to Classwork tab and you scroll down to Project 2, you're going to see a few things. The bottom is the actual project. That's where you're going to be handing in this surreal collage project. You're also going to see another video that gets posted here. There are collage steps, which is the written version of what I'll be talking about right now in this video. And then the surreal must-haves. I'm going to click on that now and open it up. When you look at this list, this is just sort of a guideline for you of the sorts of images, the kinds of images that you'll need for this project. You need between 15 and 20 images in total. And again, if you want to pick your own and not worry about this list, you can, but this is sort of a helpful guide. And also please remember that you're trying to make this odd, illogical, irrational, exciting, disturbing, and use some of those three examples we talked about in the PowerPoint: juxtaposition, dislocation, transformation. So we're going to get started with the project now. You can always go back to this video and rewind, fast forward, pause, whatever you need to do to remember the steps. So on a new tab, you are going to type in photopea.com. That's the program that we started using since I've gotten back, and we are going to continue to use it because it's most like Photoshop. You'll see here that it says a new project. So you can click here, or you can go to File, you can go to New. This, by the way, is Option, Command, and N. You can do that on your keyboard to get to New, or Option, Control, N if you're on a PC. So I'm going to click that. The next thing that opens up is this new project window. First thing you're going to do is you're going to type in surreal collage. That's the name of this project, and then your name. So let's say your name is John. You're going to put John. Then below that, you'll see some presets. We're going to use the print preset, and if you scroll down there, the bottom left corner, you'll see something that says letter 8.5 by 11. We're going to click that one. And then from there, you'll notice that it changed to 8.5 inches by 11 inches high. So the width is 8.5, the height is 11, DPI, dots per inch, is 300, which is great, and a background of white. If you want this to be flipped, you can. You can hit this little button and flip it, and now the width becomes 11 and the height becomes 8.5. That's up to you. I'm going to go back to 8.5 by 11, and then I'm going to hit Create, this button right here. After I've done that, you see my white document up on the screen. Please remember you can go to View and Zoom in to make it come towards you. You can do Zoom out to make it go away from you. And you can do View Fit the Area, or Command 0. So this one's Command plus, Command minus, Command 0 to fit it to the screen. By the way, when you've zoomed in a few times like this, you can take the hand tool, which is this tool on the toolbar here. It looks like a little hand. Or you can hit the space bar on your keyboard, and now you can kind of move around. Alright, so I'm going to zoom back out. View, Fit the Area. From there, I want you to open a new tab in Yahoo. So I'm going to open it like this. The first thing I want you to do, so this is an example of a Yahoo tab. You could use Google or Bing, whatever you'd like. I'm going to type in the word background. And you'll notice that when I do, you get a whole bunch of different kinds of backgrounds, but you can pick whatever you want. If you wanted a waterfall or a winter kind of a background or summer or whatever, you can type in whatever you want. I'm just going to type in the general word background and then go to images at the top. From there, I'm going to click on large, and then I'm going to scroll down a bit. This is where you get to choose which image that you would like to have. I'm just going to sort of randomly pick an image that I think is going to work. I'm going to click it. Please make sure you click it so you get the large version of it to pop up. Then you're going to move this whole browser window over. If the tabs are all connected, just move the tabs apart so that you can take this, click, hold, drag, and drop onto the white document, and then let go. You'll see the word loading. It pops in. Everything looks good so far. The next step that you must do is in your layers panel here on the right hand side. First thing to do is double click to rename the layer. So I'm going to call mine, since mine has rocks and water, I'm going to just call it rocks and water. Then I'm going to hit return. The next thing you'll see is this little icon in the bottom corner here. We need to get rid of that. That's a smart object, and we're not going to be using them just yet. So you have to right click on the layer. So if you have a mouse right click, sometimes it's a 2-finger click. If you're doing like a MacBook or a Chromebook, you can rasterize. That's what I need you to do. Every time you bring in an image, right click, rasterize. Okay, good. So when we zoom out, everything still looks the same, but you'll see a lot of white area, which we need to get rid of. So we're going to expand, we're going to enlarge, we're going to scale up this image of the rocks and water. How do we do that? Well, we go to Edit, free transform. Now remember, I'm on the rocks and water layer. I'm not on the background. I'm on the rocks and water layer. I go to edit, free transform, and there's those dots, those little bounding box dots. In order to make this bigger now, I'm going to pull from the corner, but you must hold shift when you do this. So with my left hand, I'm going to hold shift, and with my right hand, I'm going to click and pull with the mouse. I could do it from any of the corners, just the corners though, not the bottom, like not this one, not this one, not left, not right, just the corners. As I zoom out, you'll see I still have some white left, so I'm going to continue to hold shift and pull from the corner to enlarge it. Now, as I do this, and I get all the way down to about there, maybe a little bit less, I've cropped out a decent portion of this. Now, I can click and move it around. You know, I can actually move the whole thing to decide which portion of this picture I want. But at least now it's big enough that it covers the entire page, right? So I'm going to leave mine about there. And then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard or return, you know, and then or this checkbox. Either way, it does the same thing. It's going to get rid of that bounding box. Everything looks good. This is what it looks like from far away. I'm just going to zoom in, Command 0, so you can see it. Now, you're going to start adding images to this from that list that I showed you in the Google Classroom. Or if you have an idea in your head and you just want to go with it, by all means, start looking up images and putting them in. So I'm going to give you some examples here. I'm going to, again, go to Yahoo. When I get to Yahoo, first thing I'm going to do, if it will load for me, please load. I'm going to look up something like the moon. And again, I'm going to go to images when this comes up, and I'm going to choose this image of the moon, just sort of randomly, okay? They're all pretty much the same here. So you notice that this moon is on a black background. That's one solid color in the background. I'm going to click, pull, drag, and drop this one onto my document as well. Now when I do that, it comes up. It's all going to be the same steps again. I'm going over here to where it says moon atmosphere. I'll double click. I'll call it just moon. Hit return. Then, remember, there's that icon. I got to get rid of it. Right click, rasterize. Then this tool in the top left hand corner is your tool, move tool. You can click it and you can move this wherever you want. Now, we talked about this before Thanksgiving break, but if I want to get rid of one solid color that's around something, I can use this tool down here. It looks like a little jelly bean with some dotted box around it. If you right click on that tool, you'll get the object selection, quick selection, and magic wand. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to use the magic wand. We'll get into the other ones in some other videos, okay? But today, just the magic wand. So I'm going to click on magic wand. At the top, I'm going to make sure I'm on this button, which is the replace button. I'm going to make sure feathering is at 0, and I'm going to make sure tolerance is at 20. Anti-alias and contiguous are also clicked. Now watch what happens. I'm just going to click right on the black. When I do, it makes a nice selection of just the black, and then all you have to do is hit delete on your keyboard. You could also go to edit and clear. That will do the same thing. That's what delete is. And you see it disappears. Now to get rid of these dots, these selection dots, you go to select, deselect, or that's Command D or Control D on your keyboard. So there you have it. You have one image you've brought in. You can take the move tool. You can move it around. By the way, you could also do edit and free transform, just like we did with the background, to make this bigger or smaller. Hold shift, make it smaller or bigger, totally up to you. You can even go off past the corner here, like this, and you can click and you can rotate it. All right. If you right click, there are other things you can do, like distortions or perspective or warp. So play with them, see what you could do. For example, we have perspective. If I hit that and I start to pull, you see what happens? You get all these different looks. So you can kind of do whatever you'd like with this. I'm going to hit X to cancel it, but that's the basic idea. Next thing to kind of look at, which is cool, and you can still see the moon in the corner here, is in the layers panel where it says normal. These are called blending modes. And they allow you to see through the layer that you're on into the layer that's underneath, or the layers that are underneath. So if I'm on the moon layer here and I click on this layers blending mode for layers, it starts at normal and it goes dissolve, darken, multiply, blah, 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 right? This first grouping So if I click multiply, for example, watch what happens to the moon. It gets rid of all the white. It keeps the dark areas, but it kind of gets rid of the white, and now you're seeing through it. If I use one from the next grouping, like screen, for example, it gets rid of a lot of the black and just keeps the white. And you see through it, but in a different way. The next grouping that's on here where it says overlay, that's going to get rid of like the grays. So you got some dark, you got some white, but you don't have all the gray that's in between. So you can kind of play with those and see what you get. And it gives you a really kind of cool look where you're seeing through. So with just 2 images, we've started to make an interesting background. By the way, this is considered 1 image, 2 images. So when I count how many images, remember I said you have to have 15 to 20 in this project. Now we're going to continue. We're just going to do a few more real quick. If I go and let's say I look up something like a tree. Now if you look up a tree, let's say like this one, and this looks like a drawing of a tree actually, but we'll use it anyway. And I click on it, and let's say I bring this one in. Okay, so it brings up the tree, same steps, go to the layer, right click, rasterize, and then I want to get rid of this white that's behind the tree. So again, I could use that magic wand tool. Let's see what happens with the magic wand tool. I'm going to click on the white. Did a pretty nice job. Again, I'm going to hit delete. And then to get rid of those dots, I'm going to say select, deselect, or command D. Now, if you look closely at this, you're going to see that there's a bunch of areas that I missed inside the tree over here, bunch of stuff. So what you could do is take the magic wand tool and click some of those areas. If you want to add other areas, you could hit this button in the top corner. I'll zoom in so you can see it better. And this button is called the Unite button. And if you click it, now I can add other pieces that have sort of a similar color to them. You see this? And then I can hit delete and look what happens. Another way that you can do this, I'm going to undo what I just did just to show you, is I could use the magic wand tool, click on any of the areas, and see if they have, doesn't really give you that exact thing. Let's see what color range does. Yeah, that's not bad. So, no, it's not doing that. So let's try it. We'll try magic wand one more time. We'll see if there's another way. Yeah, they don't really have what Photoshop has in here. Go into color range, replace. Yeah, no, not really working the same way. But you can see what's starting to happen. So you have these little sections that are still left over. So when you use that magic wand tool, you can increase the number of the tolerance. And as you increase that number and you try again, you see it grabs more. And so then you can hit delete and get rid of those little areas, and then command D to deselect. And that's going to give you a better cutout. If you look closely though, there's a lot of little pieces still left over. So how could you fix this? This tool that we used last week, the lasso tool, is another way. So you could take the lasso tool now and you could just kind of make selections around things you want to get rid of and then hit delete. See? And they're all gone. All those little speckles are gone. And I'm going to do command D to get rid of it. So that's one way to kind of get rid of some of that coloring. And I'll go through other ones as we go, but again, I'm trying to keep it simple. And you can ask me in class if you get stuck on a particular photograph. The next is any of these different images. As you click and you drag them in, so that one says unknown file format, so it won't let me grab that one. I'll try something else. Try this one. Okay, so same thing. Right click, rasterize, go to edit, free transform, hold shift, resize it. I want to get rid of this gray that's behind her. So I'm going to try that magic wand first with a tolerance of 40, and I'm going to click. The only problem here, as you can see, is it grabbed the gray nicely, but it also grabbed parts of her shoe, her leg, the rest of her. I think my tolerance number was too high. So I'm going to deselect, and then I'm going to bring down the tolerance number to 20. And I'm going to try again. Still doing it, right? So let's try taking off contiguous, see if that makes a difference. It did a little bit. So you see here, I grabbed it, but it didn't do such a great job. So here's the way I kind of work around these things, okay? And you can use a variety of different tools. Again, we're trying to keep it simple. Select, deselect. Take your lasso tool, this one. Make a very basic selection around the body of the person you're trying to cut out, like this, almost like a blob around the body. Got it? Now from there, if I hit delete, look what happens. And that's no good because I just got rid of her. So I'm going to undo, Command Z, or edit, undo. What I want to do instead is select inverse. So now everything else is being selected. I'm going to hit delete. There we go. Again, to get rid of those dots, select, deselect. Now when I zoom in, I can try to get rid of this gray a little bit better. Use the magic wand tool, click on the gray. And it did a nice job pretty much, but it missed some areas. So here's what I would do now. I would take the lasso tool, and I would hit this second button in, this one right here that says Unite. And I would go over to parts like this, and I would do this. Click, drag, and you see how it kind of it gave me all of that? And then I can do it on this side. Now I have that chunk. Now you see there's a couple of little specks inside her foot. This time I'm going to use this button right here. This is subtract. So I'm going to go back over to her foot here, sorry. And I'm going to make a selection around those areas using this subtract tool. You see that? And it kind of, now it looks all good. Keep going. You see here? I'm on the subtract button up top. So I'm going to subtract this, and I'll subtract these, and this. So everybody's image is going to be different, unfortunately. You know, like we're not all using the same images, so there's not one exact way that's going to work for everyone. But you kind of go through and you fix up those areas wherever they are around the body. So you either add or you subtract. And those are the two buttons. This one's add, this one's subtract. There's also ways on your keyboard, but I'll save that for later. Okay, so that looks pretty good right now. I'm going to hit delete. Watch what happens. So as I hit delete, all of that stuff that's around her, all that gray is gone. I'm going to do Command D. And we're looking pretty good. I can take that move tool, and I can move that move tool, you know, and move that wherever I want it to go. Remember, I can edit, free transform. I could rotate it. I could scale it up and resize it. I can flip it so she goes the opposite way. I can do any of these other distortions or transformations, we call them. Then hit OK when you're done. And that's sort of the way we're going to do things. Everybody's images, like I said, is going to be different, but you're going to do your best to kind of cut things out. If you have any trouble, you can ask me. I can help you. You can share your screen with me, and I can kind of help you through. And don't just remember to be, you know, silly, funny, outrageous, odd, illogical. All those words that we talked about, you know, is going to be the kind of thing to do. Here's my last example for you, right? Like, so, you know, you can take something like this as an example. Drag this in. Once it comes in, right-click, rasterize. Use your magic wand tool. You can also try quick select too. I'll let you try quick select now. That's okay. Kind of works the same. For certain images, it'll work a little faster. So like that one, it didn't do very well. So that's why I'm trying to stay with magic wand. But there we go. Okay. These are all the same steps that you did. Okay, these are those weird, strange illogical steps. We can make it even look, cleaner than that and better than that. But you're going to be repeating these same steps throughout the entire project. Any questions? Let me know.